Aloha e nā hoa makamaka o ko Hawaii pai aina. Aloha e Hawaii nui o Kamehameha nui. Aloha e Maui nui a Kamalala Valu. Aloha e Molokai nui a Hina. Aloha e Oahu nui a Kuali'i. Aloha no e Kauai o Mano Kalani Po. Welcome to Hawaiian Kingdom News Live, 7 days of headline news in 60 minutes, 127 years of prolonged illegal occupation and genocide. To the national crisis with the weather.
Aloha kako. Welcome to your 17th edition of Darkside of Hawaiian Politics Weather, Saturday, March 28th. Weather from Moko Ke'ave out in Hawi. Your highs is 77, low 67. Out down to Puilo Town in Okapa'ole Plantation. High 74, low 61. Out in Hilo'one, overcast with your high 77 and your low 68. Down out in Pohoa Town, your high 75, low 64. And out down to Pahala Town, overcast, high 71, low 59. And out in Captain Cook area, high 73, low 63, partially sunny, and a lot of clouds. Up on Mauna Kea, it looks clear right now. So if you want to go up there and go in Hana, and for your protocols, they will be up there. And if not, stay safe at home. And for your weather surf report, in Moko Ke'ave, your east is 5 to 8, so please be advised. It's very big out in your east coast. If you're not a professional surfer or lifeguard, please stay out of the water and be safe. North, 1 to 3, west, 1 to 3, and south, a small 2 to 4. So everybody, because of the emergency proclamation, we advise you guys to exercise smart precautions, stay your distance, but most of all, stay home, maintain your mala, and continuing your hana. Mahalo, DJ Derbs, back to you.
For our Mana Hanawali'i this week, on March 26, Hau'oli La Hanau, Jonah Kuhio Kalaniana Ole. He was a prince of the Hawaiian Kingdom. He also became later a representative of the territory of Hawaii. He was born in Kukui'ula, Koloa, on the island of Kauai. His genealogy is very complex, comes from the heirs and chiefs of Kaumuali'i, Pi'ikoi, and High Chief of Hilo. Prince Kuhio leaves his legacy lasting today in the form of the Royal Order of Kamehameha organization, the counties on every island, and also the Hawaiian Civic Clubs in 1918, and his work through the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act that got passed in Congress, and all of the Hawaiian Homestead Associations across the Pai'aina. So please look to his legacies and his life story about how all of these organizations in this time of crisis and emergency needs to come together, work together, and holomua kalahui Hawaii, malalo o kainoa o ko Hawaii Pai'aina.
And just one thing about Prince Kuhio. So Prince Kuhio, if you go look on the Hawaii State Archives, I think Dr. Ron Williams posted something about him. But go ahead and check out the treason manuscript. Yeah, check out the legacy that he led for us during the overthrow. How he and a lot of patriots stood up and fought and was arrested for treason, did hard labor, went around the world, entered a couple battles, and then came back home and pronounced Prince Cupid one of the most ferocious statesmen that our nation has ever seen on both sides of the lines, So mahalo once again, DJ Derbs, haoli, to our ali'i nuis from the past.
I'd just like to add one more thing. He's actually the first Hawaiian pilot to operate a plane.
Ayo. Hey yo, so there you go. KP, the cornerstone, telling you how it is. He's the first. He's a true statesman.
Yes.
To get on that plane. If you guys haven't seen that plane, go ahead and Google that. I have it posted on my Hawaiian Kingdom's Airs IG, where I give you guys the Land Commission Awards and a Hawaiian Kingdom substance. But I have that picture too, and thank you for reminding me how important that picture means. Because yes, he was the first flying Hawaiian.
Yeah, because you need to understand that throughout the Hawaiian Kingdom, we were innovators. You know,
Yes.
like we had, first, electricity, first toilet, and so on. And like Prince Kuhio, he was the first Hawaiian pilot. That's the
Yes.
first Hawaiian Airlines.
Hawaiian mokulele.
Mokulele, yeah.
Ali'i mokulele.
Yes, yes.
And to close this section out, everyone assumes Duke Kahanamoku was the ambassador of surfing, but there was Prince Kuhio and
yes.
his
There it is.
Ohana. There's a photo of him in London.
There
I
it
believe
is.
It's in 1886, 1887.
Ripping 'em.
Of him surfing in England, showing the foreigners over there how skillful, clever Hawaiians have a global sense to share our aloha through surfing. So that's also Prince Kuhio's legacy, is surfing ambassador. So now to the next section,
Yes.
Mana Olelo. And for our Mana Olelo today, we're going to use or look at the word Vanana. Vanana is to prophesize, to see the future. So the Hawaiian Kingdom News, when you tune in on Saturdays, we were the first to call alarm to the COVID-19 emergency, to close the airports down, to close the cruise ships down, and to keep our ohana safe, because we can see in the past, which lays out our future. So this article, Keao o Ko'a, says this: He hou loa o kalai pahoa, o kane ia kama, ka mea I loa ai. A o lani kaula, o keo puka, a vaiho aku o lani kaula I o lelo vanana I mua o kamalala walu, ke li'i o Maui. I ka ho'o makaukau ana, e holo I Hawaii, e kana aku, me lono I ka makahiki, vahi ho'i o SM Kamakau, eia malalo iho, kana vanana. And then it prints the vanana, or the prophecy of what's happening in the future. So in our lahui, in our genealogy, we have the gifted ones that are able to see the future because of our connection to the Aina and Kalani, the heavens. So Eia Kahua Olelo, Mana Olelo for today is Vanana, prophecy.
Vanana.
National crisis.
Mahalo kako. So DJ Derbs, always mahalo for the Mana Olelo. Before we get into business as usual, business as usual for us comes of way of critiquing the news for what it really is and what it really shows us throughout the week. So this week, here we have it for our first number one up to bat for our smash or pass this week. We have urgency. The first one was up. Reports coming from Star Advertiser. Visitors gets attacked down in Waikiki. DJ Derbs, Manao.
So as we were saying about over a month ago now, Hawaii did not have the coronavirus here. We asked for a complete shutdown of ports, airports, and visitors, screened them, but they continue to come even after the world has proclaimed a world pandemic. So we don't have the coronavirus here. It's brought in by foreigners, tourists, and even residents that go travel outside that return. So in a way, I want to smash the attack because I'm for nonviolence and only peace. But at the same time, when we have continued tourism coming in so blatantly, I got to just give the person who I guess wanted to send the message that he wants to keep his family safe, his kupuna safe. I gotta give him a pass because the current government is not saying what the people are saying, which is keep our elders safe, keep our kupuna safe. So I gotta give the person a pass for making the message get across, but at the same time, non-violence, guys. So I gotta smash the attack at the same time.
KP, Cornerstone, Manao, about these kind of issues, attacks.
Well, the attack is unprovoked, you know, and we as Kanaka who live within our Hawaiian Islands, we must always practice aloha. We should never, you know, even you know, if the you know, tourists came to Hawaii, to our country, we shouldn't actually, you know, attack them physically or anything like that, especially with keiki around, you know. So it's, you know, so I don't actually
Yes.
support any violence.
Yes.
Yeah. So I give them a smash on that. But when it comes to the tourists being here, you have to look to the occupying government.
Yes.
It's like business as usual. You know, even if you look, you know, back, you know, in late December, you see, you know, like a pandemic is rising. You know, you look to China. You know, how many people died, how many people was infected with C-19, you know, and with that, the you know, occupying government, the fake state, should have taken steps, you know, to prevent anyone from coming into the Hawaiian Islands, and yet they didn't. It was like, you know, even to this day, you know, they're not taking it seriously, and now we have you know, community spread of C-19. So I blame, you know, the occupying government for not taking this issue, you know, seriously. So, you know, I give them a smash.
So, Kako, there has been an executive order and there has been arrests as of yesterday, a few arrests linking to theft and other misdemeanors violating the emergency proclamation. And so, yes, just like KP, the Cornerstone said, right, we shall not hurt others in reactions to the government's and the occupiers' neglect for our life and for our visitors' lives. These people came knowingly that there was going to be a quarantine in effect. Please, this is our plea from our community to visitors. Please stay away. Moku o ke ave is shut. Ko Hawaii pai aina is shut. Please stay home, quarantine at home, so we don't have our government continuing to put our communities at risk and our family members taking the lead in very, very, very flagrant ways that we don't condone. But one must say, if the government is not going to help preserve life, there are people out there that are frantic about this pandemic with the cases skyrocketing. So we have to smash on the government for allowing tourism to fluctuate and still come in knowingly, and going to the beaches where our families are monitoring is a smash. It's an irresponsibility of the occupational government. Next up on the chopping block, we have Star Advertiser reporting that Lieutenant Josh Green, governor, shall take the tip of the spear and lead the campaign. KP, mana'o on Lieutenant Governor Green taking reins of this COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, the lieutenant governor of the occupying government should always have been, you know, the spearhead, not the end. And you know, I can't figure out why that the governor Ige, you know, took him out, because he is a medical doctor. He knows best for the Hawaiian Islands, you know, how to control the stem or prevent the spread of C-19. And like I said earlier, you know, if your car is broken,
yeah,
right, you're going to look for a mechanic. And what the governor did is he took out his mechanic and he brought in one carpenter, right? And he brought in one painter. And what he brought in one technician. So at the end of the day, your car is still broken. You know why? Because you need the carpenter. I mean, you need the mechanic. You need Lieutenant Governor Green, because his experience. Yeah, and I personally feel that, you know, the reason why Ige took him out is because the Lieutenant Governor Green was actually telling the truth. You know how important for us to stand down, to shut down, you know, the ports, shut down the airports and the seaports. And like Ige is like saying, oh no, it's, you know, it's kind of like optional, and he's just, you know, continue to let flights coming into the Hawaiian Islands, continue to let ships coming into the Hawaiian Islands. And now look what we have now, community spread. So, you know, with that, I actually I applaud, you know, to whomever that have the common sense to bring back Lieutenant Governor Green into the fold. So I give it a pass that, you know, Lieutenant Governor Green is back in the fold, and I give a smash to Ige.
DJ Derbs, Lieutenant Green taking the lead in this pandemic time.
It's about time.
It's about time.
The people elected him for his expertise, his emergency room expertise, his medical expertise. We elected him. He's an elected official. He's not just a nobody.
Yeah.
And he's from Mokuokeave, and we endorsed him, and we want him to lead. We've been asking for that for over a month now, because you got to have experts when it comes to situations like these where lives could be lost. We cannot mess around with politics no more.
Yeah.
Politics is out the door. We need the experts to make the calls, to take the calls and move forward, because lives are in danger right now.
Yes.
And when you're an elected official to the level of the lieutenant governor, it almost seems like politics was what removed him, that actually caused this last outcry. And because the people cried out, we want Josh Green to be involved, to lead the charge. Where is he? He's not in any press releases. And you have a person like Dr. Anderson. Yes, he has the title of doctor, but he's not a medical doctor. He's not an emergency room doctor. He's a doctor that has expertise in another field. So whenever you hear him talk, you should just turn it off. You should just ignore this guy, because he's not giving recommendation within his field of expertise. Unlike the elected that we all chose, Lieutenant Governor Josh Green, for his expertise to lead us to safety. So I just gotta re-question what happened. And what's been happening. I believe politics has been stalling the emergency movements, the emergency solutions that needs to take place. So Lieutenant Governor Josh Green, I just want to give you a pass. I want to give politics in Darkside of the real Hawaiian politics, not the show, a smash. Because it's the thing that's might cause many deaths, and I just want to give the people a pass for crying out on the internet and social media for getting Josh Green back on the on the press conferences again.
So Green to take the lead. If Green were to take the lead, I believe our first topic, the visitors getting attacked, would not be an issue. Because of his expertise and his compassion towards our communities and our visitors, he is the prime example that should be leading it. This Ige Fernandez 50th state unfair and Mufi Banana Hands continue to give reports as if they're doctors. This is a Ige Fernandez show that has been going on for way too long. We have these banana hands just reporting all these false accusations when we just want a doctor. We just want Dr. Green Lieutenant Governor Dr. Green. So with that being said, legislation, you guys are truly a genius, because we need the Green Pass to come on through. Dr. Green Pass. So please, continuing the urgency, the petition to get a real doctor on the job. Not none of these circus Ige Fernandez shows. All these other characters, these politricks that continue to corrupt our system and leave us without the right resources. And Josh Green, Dr. Green, is the right resources. So Kako, go ahead, support, get him out in your community. If not, if he's in the ER, make sure you guys donate that masks or whatever you guys got time. These people and Josh Green are truly an inspiration for our community. Mahalo, Josh Green. Next up on the chopping block for Smash and Pass, we have Star Advertisers report, what we have been seeing and confirming ever since our first episode, which is community gardens must be initiated, or what shall we say, our Aina Ho'opula Pula Malas. KP, Aina Ho'opula Pula Malas.
Well, in every ahupua'a, in every district, I know in Pahoa we have a community garden, and you know, we need to take the initiative and start, you know, using the you know, the areas for planting, and you know, every individual should actually have their own little garden, or you know, aquaponics, hydroponics, because we need to get back to basics, and we cannot really rely on the stores anymore. Because if you go to the store, sometimes they have produce, sometimes they don't. And so most times, you know, people are going to the regular farmers market, and a lot of the farmers market within the areas now, they're online. So you simply can go online, and you know, you can do your business, you know, buying your produce online.
Yes.
And there's a lot of other places, you know, on the side of the road where you can buy produce and stuff like that. So I encourage you guys to go and support the local community when you need produce. But it's a very good initiative to use the community gardening in your area.
Yes. So DJ Derbs Caldwell giving in to reality.
Okay. Mayor Kirk Caldwell, that's probably the last time I'm going to use his correct name.
Right.
Because finally, the mayor does something right. He agrees to open community gardens, and it should not only be in Honolulu, but it should be on every single island across the Pai'aina. And let's remember, our Hanau Ali'i, yeah? Prince Kuhio said this in 1920. But yet, we are still deficient in the amount of food that we can supply our keiki and our kupuna. So that is just unconscionable. So Kako, we need to go back on our farming lands and start farming food, and not GMO corn, not GMO beans, and not this GMO stuff. We need to go back on our farms and plant food that we can eat and survive off of. We need to change our economy, Kako. So I gotta mahalo the COVID-19. I gotta pass it because it really brings these things to light, and it really makes it a serious situation. And I gotta give Mayor Kirk Caldwell a pass also for proclaiming this, but it's in our genealogy for 1,000 years. It's called Aloha Aina. It's called Native Tenant Rights. It's called Koina'ina Kuleana o Nakanaka. It's called the Kuleana Act of 1850. It's called the Mahele of 1848. It's called the 1920 Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. You know, we have all of these things in place, but still yet the DHHL director, Bill Amalaya, is not allowing the Beneficiary Trust Council to grow food. If he allowed the Beneficiary Trust Council to grow food 5 years ago, we'd have no problem right now. We could feed all of you on Oahu right now.
So, DJ Derbs, yes, community gardens. Smash on Caldwell for taking so long to realize reality and you must smash in your mala kako. You guys must get into your local vai and to your mala and go out there and smash away. Stack those pohakus, build those walls, right? Don't let this crook Caldwell tell you that it's okay now, right? These things have been
it was always okay.
It was always okay.
Yeah.
So for him to continue to fall into reality, it just goes to show, Kako, you guys are really making an impact. So there's 10 community gardens that he claims that is on the island of Oahu. One is in Manoa Valley, and it's up to you, Kako, to find out where is the other 9, because it's almost like an Easter egg hunt with this Ige Fernandez show, where they will tell you that they have community gardens open, but they will only show you a couple names. So smash on your mala and smash Crook Caldwell for taking so long to realize reality. So, KP, now to our Polynesian South Pacific news from the cornerstone and the updates that we need to hear around our kingdom.
Aloha. This is the latest news in our South Pacific islands. From Radio New Zealand, Aotearoa, the Pacific Music Awards, which was scheduled for May 19th, has been postponed due to C-19. The organizers stated that the 2020 finalists will be announced in early April or May. So this is a really big, music awards in the South Pacific, and I personally feel that our people from the Hawaiian Islands, they should actually participate in this Pacific Music Awards. Okay, next up from Radio New Zealand, Samoa's prison commissioner resigns after mass prison break of 36 inmates from Tanu Malala High Security Prison. The Prime Minister said that the police ministry will take over the prison after this fiasco. All right, from Loop Nauru News, Tahiti stopped sales of alcohol due to the C-19 virus.
Hey, wait, just about that. I think we just had a local topic. I think Governor Ige was trying to suspend a little bit about the cigarette and the tobacco suspensions.
Exactly.
So we see a little trend happening, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And finally, from Cook Island News, Manatua Cable Project, also known as One Polynesia Fiber Optic Cable, will connect Rarotonga and Aitutaki in Cook Islands, as well as Samoa, Niue, Tahiti, and Bora Bora. So this is very, great news for our island nations down there, because prior to that, they had a monopoly, and there was only one company, and the rates of internet service and telephone was very high. But due to this cable connecting various island nations in the South Pacific, now the cost of internet service and telephone service is going to be a lot lower. So it's good to hear the technology, they're taking advantage of technology within our island nations. And
do we have some stats, Cornerstone?
Oh yes, we have some
update stats as the charts are rising daily. Yeah,
yes.
KP. It's always good to hit that stats of our kingdom stats, man.
Okay. Let's see if we can get it on the monitor.
Trying to get it up there loaded for our kako out there, Lahui. So bear with us as we try to get it out. But Uncle, you can go over KP.
All right. So we're gonna have a rundown from
the top.
Every country or island, and this is the latest. Okay, from Aotearoa.
There it is.
March 21st, they actually had no cases, and on the 25th, they had 57. So you can see all the red numbers are actually, additional cases. Okay, today it went up to 451 cases
in Aotearoa.
Aotearoa.
Wow.
In American Samoa, they have no cases.
And this is in 3 days. Wait, sorry. In the 3 days, is that Aotearoa? 325 to 328?
28, yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And if you go to the Cook Islands, and if you look at it, they have no cases. And the reason being is that they stopped all, travelers coming in as well with anyone going out from their island nation. Okay, so if you look at Fiji, on the 21st, they didn't have any cases. On the 25th, they had 5, and today it's still at 5 cases. They have 5 cases. Guam, they had no cases on the 21st, but you look at on the 25th. They had 25, and as you look at today, they had 51. So it's almost double the cases, right? Okay, so then we go to our island nation, the Hawaiian Kingdom. We had no cases on the 21st. On the 25th, we had 90 cases. Today, we have 122 cases.
Wow.
Okay, the Kingdom of Tonga, they have no cases, So on the 21st, as we first reported, no cases. On the 25th, no cases. And today, they have no cases. Kiribati, the same thing, from the 21st, the 25th, and today, no cases. Marshall Islands, no cases at all. Micronesia, no cases. Northern Mariana Islands, they have no cases. Nauru, no cases. All right. Niue, on the 21st, they had no cases, but on the 25th, they had 1 case, and currently they have 1 case. Papua New Guinea, on the 21st, they had no cases. On the 25th, they had 1 case, and currently, right now, they have 7 cases. To Palau, they had no cases on the 21st. They had 1 case on the 25th, and they have 2 cases right now. Okay, Rapa Nui, they had no cases on the 21st, no cases on the 25th, but they have 2 cases currently. As we go to the Solomon Islands, they had no cases on the 21st. They had 25 cases on the 25th and 30 cases currently. Tahiti, they had no cases on the 21st. They had no cases on the 25th, but currently they have 25 cases. So
thank you for the stat. Do you have any more? Well, that covers our South Pacific Kingdom news.
Yes.
Where we show our stats on a daily progression, and that's why our emergency proclamation news launched on Wednesday, so we could keep track as much data as we can throughout this pandemic. So our last 3 on our Smash or Pass series is Kim keeps the county of Hawaii open. DJ Derbs.
Harry, kimchi, wanbok, taigu, cucumber is still dragging along because the kimchi is fermenting. We gotta stop the fermenting process on this kimchi, and we just gotta get right to it. Harry Kim, please close down our island completely from foreigners that continue to look at the cheap Hawaiian airline prices and the fact that Hawaii Island is the only island open now, from what I can see, because a friend posted a picture this morning at the Mauna Loa Hotel, and I could see how many tourists out in a beach when our own people choose not to go to the beach because we comply with the government's orders. But when visitors come here, rich people from around the world choose to go and stay sunbathe on a beach, but at the same time, our people get citations and tickets for practicing our 1,000-year-old cultural practice of surfing. I just got to smash on Harry Kimchi for not making the proclamation to just shut us down. Shut us down. Keep our elders safe. Keep our kupuna safe. Smash Harry Kimchi.
KP, Cornerstone, Spicy Kimchi continuing down his show.
Well, if you look at Kimchi, he's like a parallel to Trump. They're not taking this seriously, and the only thing on their mind is what? It's not the people. It's not the population of the Hawaiian Kingdom. It's money. How can we continue to make money, right? So if you look at our island, Mokoke'awe, we still have flights coming in. We still have planes coming in.
Still
and
coming.
you know, and it's really really sad, because we as Kanaka, we have the right to actually go and gather, and yet they want to stop us from gathering, our food, or going down to the beach, or going up Mauka to the mountain. And yet when you have tourists going around, they're in the park, they're everywhere, they're not enforcing their own laws.
Yes.
So so to me, it's like, it's really sad. They're not taking this very seriously, and a lot of people is going to be in harm's way. It's because the government is not taking this seriously, and this is going to be the end result. You're going to have casualties. So I give a smash to Spicy Kimchi.
Oh, man. So it seems like he's been missing for a little bit, but you know what? Mahalo to our families out in Paneava, Serge, the Ohana, Uncle Pat, and Keokaha Homestead, that actually a couple days ago had to remind the county that these parks in our fragile Hawaiian homes, crown lands, parcels cannot and will not accept the county opening up the only 2 parks on Hawaiian Homestead to cater to the general public to go ahead and spread their diseases. It's almost unthinkable that this guy, Harry Spicy Kimchi, and the Ige Fernandez show, they obviously don't know what they're doing. So smash, smash, smash. Put Josh Green in the driver's seat so that we can be preventive and not figuring out what parks to leave open and who do we leave susceptible to leave a suspect to getting sick. So mahalo once again to our community, Paneava, Keokaha, for really laying down the fundamental. I wouldn't want to say lay down the laws. I just would like to say laying down the fundamental of preserving our keikis, preserving our kupuna who are older and who represents the older population up on Mokoke'awe. So there you guys have it. Mokoke'awe shut down. Next up, we have our Maui Watch news. Horrific story. We've been following this for quite some years. But Maui Watch, Keiki Shields, protects and busts 10 men in this ring. DJ Derbs, Keiki Shield, Operation Keiki Shield.
So I gotta give our law enforcement for the 2nd week in a row a big pass, because this is just atrocious. This type of child predators in stealing our children, in using our children for sex is just egregious. And I believe if this was the Hawaiian Kingdom, the death penalty would return for sick adults like these that choose to traffic our keiki, traffic our children for sex. So I just gotta give the law enforcement on Maui County a big pass, and I expect an investigation to take place on every single island to cease at once this egregious worldwide sick mentality of pimping out our keiki for sex.
There you have it. Cornerstone, some fundamentals about this issue.
Well, this is only a tip of the iceberg.
There
And
you
if you look in the Hawaiian Islands, sex trafficking, 80% of the victims are Kanaka.
Boom.
So we as a community, need to look out for our keiki. When I was growing up, you could you can walk down the sidewalk by yourself. You can go to the playgrounds, and go and play and have no fear of someone snatching you off the street. And there's several cases on Oahu where young children, young adults are missing. And it all because of sex trafficking, and we need to stop this.
Yes.
And we need to actually look over our keikis. If this was the Hawaiian Kingdom, and anybody who would get actually caught would actually would have harsh penalty. And for me personally, what I would do if I catch anybody doing this to my family members or my friend, I would cut off their laho. Because you know what? This is uncalled for. This is one sickness.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's a sickness that we have to deter, because it's spreading, and it's spreading like on wildfire. Now you're looking at everybody is really conscious of who's around their keiki. Even people videotaping other keikis. People are questioning, well, how come you videotaping this keiki for? Why? So we need to be mindful and be aware about this sick people, in the community. So, I give a smash to all of these predators, but I give a pass for the law enforcement to actually stepping up and doing the job.
So, Kako, while we was getting educational malpractice out in the University of Heva schools, a few years ago, Tulsi Gabbard came down with International Women's Studies to address the human sex trafficking that is taking place, Kako. That's why today, we don't get to see these cases pop up too often, because there are a lot of politicians and other people, players within our community, and some may say it's law enforcement, because in the international community, that's how these things thrive. It thrives from a network. It doesn't thrive by one predator getting hungry. It has to sustain the beast. So the beast would be the product, and our keikis, our at-risk Native Hawaiians, and those who don't have their lands to go home to, are homeless, are most susceptible to these kind of sex trafficking. So when she came 3 years ago or so, we were actually blessed to attend. This was actually a shut meeting for women and those people who were victimized. But as students, we were able to go in and listen and intake, because they brought over an international women's study that basically had way more details that we are giving you today. And that's why it's so important when we see that these 10 guys are getting busted. Who are they? Are they public officials? Do they have public official ties? Do they work for certain state departments? Because like we said, this is a big conglomerate extortion of our families and our children. And so if you guys know of any more news topic or things of these natures happening in your area, because ours are taking, we already have a few reports that there were attempts at Paneeva Crest Cinemas, Walmart parking lot. There were failed attempts.
You remember a young adult in Kona several months ago.
Yes. So these things are happening, and Hawaiian Homes, you guys should be aware that sex trafficking and stealing people are happening on your properties. Yeah, the attempts are happening on homestead properties, Walmart, right, Target, cinemas, Crest Cinemas. So people are perching on Hawaiian homelands, trying to take the general public and Native Hawaiian heirs too. So Kako, we have to smash on the government for not holding up their end of the bargain of selling our kids. So that's why we are bringing you these reports, so we can hold our family as dear and near as we can without feeling that we are going to get our kids stolen if they want to go and watch a movie or pick up some groceries on our crown lands. Man, what a crazy topic. So, smashing on those politics, but for the Maui police who work vigorously, the name Operation Keiki Shield, Operation Keiki Shield, ko Hawaii Pai'aina, locked down. Nobody's extorting kids, nobody's extorting our community and resources, and nobody is bringing none of these sickness and ailments into our homes, Hawaii. Mahalo. Last up on our chopping block is our state enforcement 14 days. So the state has finally took it upon itself after many times of our community writing, enforcing. Now the state wants to administer the 14-day KP.
Well, if you look at it, it's too late already. They should have enforced this back in January.
Yes.
You know, and like I say, you know, it all stems. You know, if you look at the whole situation, first of all, you know, we're on an illegal occupation. Yeah. And then second of all, the fake state, they're running on, you know, making money, tourism. That's how they make their money. So they're not going to actually wean off 100%. Yeah. They might wean off maybe 70%, but they're going to find a way to bring in tourism because that's how they make the money. And it's like, you know what? Yes, we're going to have casualties, but the number one goal is to make money off of tourism. But if you look at other island nations, you know, down in the South Pacific, they're cut off, completely cut off. It's like, no, we're not going to actually have any airlines coming into our island nations, nor are we going to get any of the ships coming in. Yeah, they're going to actually, you know, people are going to suffer, you know, but the outcome is that, you know what, we're trying to stem the spread of C-19. So if you look at the situation down in the South Pacific versus us, we're still wide open, you know, and now we have cases of community spread. Now it's kind of like, wow, you know, how can we prevent this? We can't, because this disease is invisible.
So just like he says, this state lockdown for 14 days should have been done a long time ago. But this is where, just like DJ Derbs and I have been talking about prior to this, it's the lockdowns of our public restrooms in Waimanalo on our crown lands. And just recently, I think Pu'uhonua just got their water turned back on. So this is what just blows my mind, right? The state wants to go on a 14-day lockdown, but they're in clear violation of the CDC laws. Yes? The CDC laws allow, and not only because of the CDC laws, is because our Hawaiian nationals have interest and vested interest in mineral and in every rights, native tenant rights that this state or ko Hawaii Pai'aina has to offer. Yes? So that's what I'm trying to say, is how are they going to do a lockdown and they can't manage it, but they want to turn off our waters down on our crown lands in Waimanalo. They want to turn down our houseless heirs who have been living under this occupation despair for hundreds of years, and they want to put the burden on our family.
Right.
That is just horrific, and I just got to smash on them for locking down so late. Too little, too late. Our numbers are too high, and then you want to go ahead and penalize our families who have the hardest cost of living to sustain itself. DJ Derbs.
Hawaiian Kingdom News called the quarantine back in January. It took almost 2 months for the state to catch up. Lieutenant Governor Josh Green called it on March 18th. But the most egregious part of this whole thing is, like national crisis, calling out the national crisis from the 127-year illegal occupation of denying human rights to water, clean water and bathrooms to the number one houseless population who are Hawaiian Kingdom heirs, this past week, and it was because of the community and social media speaking out to this egregious violation of
Showing
human
it.
rights in the Hawaiian Kingdom, showing it out to the community, that it just went viral. And Kako, that's what we need to do. We need to keep an eye out for
Follow.
our heirs, our houseless communities out there,
Yes.
and make it known when the current county and the current state denies basic human rights to clean water, sanitation, and bathrooms to the Hawaiian population, who's number one houselessness. So I gotta call out community. It's upon you to look over and keep accountable these government choices and movements that may seem okay. 14-day quarantine, like we said, it's late, but it took away water from the houseless. So we gotta keep our communities safe.
Yes.
And we need
Continue
to
to pressure.
keep our ohana safe and
Yes.
continue to pressure through social media.
Take
Kako.
pictures.
Oh yeah,
Cheers.
we got to
If they
keep them
didn't come
accountable.
out- if they didn't come out,
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't have water. And we have kupuna there, we have keiki
Yes.
there, we have ohana there, and the 127 years of illegality is still unresolved. We need to resolve this immediately.
Oh yeah.
Kako.
DJ Derb, I want to also add, so if you look at the fake state, they're targeting the occupied population. Okay, they're enforcing. You're shutting down the parks. You're shutting down the restrooms. And most of the people living on the parks are our people, the occupied people. Okay, why don't they actually also enforce down Waikiki? When the tourists are down the beach, when they're walking on the sidewalks, why don't they also cite them? They're only citing our people.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, you know what? When it comes to this right here, we just got to give them one smash.
Smash. And thank you, Kako, for this episode of Smash or Pass, where we bring to you all the critical topics that we can find that has the most impact to our communities, that we feel as Hawaiian Kingdom heirs and as nationals, our kuleana is to continue to hold this occupying government at stake. But not only that, give the conclusions and the best alternatives that we possibly can. So once again, thank you for tuning in for our Smash or Pass, and now up to our constitutional oath breakers of the week. And we gotta give this one to the Ige Fernandez 50th State Unfair. This has to go to a team of knuckleheads. DJ Derbs, what you think about the Ige Fernandez and their whole shenanigans? Because usually we give Ige the shot, right? But it seems like we have to give all the performers and the crisis actors out there a shout out this week, right?
So the constitutional oath breaker for DJ Derbs is it's a team, and that team is called Governor Egghead, Mayor Kimchi, and Ander Mantle. I don't understand these three guys of not taking more action quicker to save our elderly population, to save our kupuna population from this horrid pandemic national crisis. So those are my winners. It's a team this week.
Cornerstone, the Ige Fernandez. Do you have a special player? Or you like the whole circus show? Or we're just smashing the whole circus show?
For me personally, I'm going to smash the whole occupying government except for Green.
Yes, there you go.
Green
gets the green pass.
Yeah, Green has a pass because he was actually always, consistent with his message about the urgency of C-19, whereas you have the rest of the fake state, downplaying this whole C-19, the urgency. And now look at where we are right now. It's because of the lack of urgency of the occupying government, the fake state. This is the reason why we're here. And you look at the numbers. It's because of their lack of urgency of not shutting down the seaports and the airports.
Well, just like you said, you like the doctor, but you get Mufi banana hands.
Right.
Talking.
You know, it's the thing is, you know, you bring in everybody else except the person who's actually, you know, the person that you need to have to advise you. You know, you bring all these other clowns in here, and you know what? The end result is that we get chaos right now.
Chaos. So there you have it, your constitutional oath breaker for your episode 17. And now to our last two segments. But before we get to our closing, makahana ka'ike, KP Cornerstone, makahana ka'ike for this week for our ohana ko Hawaii pai aina.
Well, first of all, you know, with this situation right here, we as Kanaka, our fiber that connects, you know, one another is aloha. So I encourage you guys to, you know, make contact with your friends and your ohana every day. I mean, no go up to their door and knock on the door, you know, because of the situation. But you can text and you call and just ask them, how you guys doing? That's all.
Check up.
Just check up with the people you care. That's all.
Check
and, you
up.
know, and sometimes, you know, you're gonna cheer up the person because they know now that, you know, there's a person who cares about them. So I encourage you guys, you know, daily, you know, make contact with your friends and your ohana. And secondly, you know, I encourage you guys to plant.
Mm-hmm.
This is in our DNA. You know, from the early days when the Polynesians came to these islands, you know, they planted food for survival, and you know, today we're in almost the same situation. We cannot rely on food being imported. We need to actually be self-sufficient again. So it doesn't, you know, I'm not saying go out and lease 5 acres. What I'm saying is that just plant something small that you can eat. So I encourage you guys to plant.
Mahalo, KP, for the basic fundamentals of a cornerstone kanaka. Check up with your ohana and aina ho'opula pula, ho'ulula hui. DJ Derbs.
My makahana ka'ike for all of you. Ditto on KP. We need to do both of those things, but I want to add one more to the mix. Pay attention to New York. The governor, Cuomo, he comes on lives almost every day, every other day, because you'll be able to vanana what may happen here if we follow their late and slow movements and actions. So when we look at New York and the governor, we need to be proactive. Whatever they're doing, we need to do now to prevent what's happening there to happen over here. So my makahana ka'ike for all of you is follow New York because it's blowing up right now, and we need to shut this place down now, Hawaii now, so it doesn't get to New York, because we need to support our hospital workers. We need to support our doctors. We need to support our nurses. And right now, they don't have enough equipment. You know, a nurse was fired for bringing this up, and we need to support our hospitals and healthcare workers with the proper equipment by staying home, not getting sick, so we don't overwhelm our healthcare system here in Hawaii. So that's my makahana ka'ike for all of you folks this week. Pay attention to New York, but at the same time support our healthcare workers who's in the trenches daily, helping our kupuna and our community to stay alive, Kako.
Makahana ka'ike for this week is the Kanaka list. Go ahead and get your Kanaka list on. Support your local farmers, your produce. We're working tirelessly on the end of putting together a format for communities out on our islands where we can get connected with services, mala building, aquaponics, hydroponics, all of these kind of necessities, we should say, right? KP, it's more of necessities. So our makahana ka'ike is to go and research, go and look for that local produce, go and look for that local community garden, and share it, post it, like it. That's our mission. That's our steady mission for the next So in few days, weeks, or even months that we're going to be in quarantine or lockdown, your job, like our job, is to find solutions and find those local support systems, those kanaka in your ahupua'a and on your moku. Check up with your kupuna and make sure everybody stays safe out there. Once again, thank you for your makahana kaike, DJ Derbs, KP, and now for our rapid aloha for this week, March 28th, DJ Derbs.
My rapid aloha goes out to all of the healthcare workers, all the nurses, all of the doctors out there, keeping our ohana safe. Aloha, mahalo.
Going out to our local vendors. We got here Hawaii Farmers Market, all of these Hawaii's finest, all of these things that come out. Please support local. Maku'u Farmers Market. Go ahead, check out their new Facebook page. Get that vegetables. Go ahead.
Rapid aloha. I would like to actually mahalo our friends and family who supports us doing Hawaiian Kingdom news. Mahalo.
KP, DJ Derbs.
My Vanana rapid aloha is going to go out to the director of Hawaiian Homelands for allowing all Hawaiians to reclaim Hawaiian homelands and to grow food. So that's my Vanana rapid aloha coming up.
And so now, Eno Kapo'ole, I know he's out there. They have a farm out there. They have all kinds of fruits and vegetables. They actually are practicing social distancing. Kapo'ole said. So if you guys want to work 6 to 7, 8 feet apart and plant and hana,
yes,
we have a safe place for you to go. So if you guys are looking for that outsource, make sure you go check out on the Hamakua coast. They got your kava, noni, and they got your drop-offs and pick-offs. So that's how we're converting now.
All right.
So thank you all. We'll see each other on this coming Wednesday for your update, emergency proclamation, and stay tuned, stay connected, and always see you on the dark side of Hawaiian politics, Hawaiian Kingdom news.
Stay safe in the kingdom.
Aloha.
Aloha.